So, that was certainly a movie. I mean, what did we all expect, really? Those trailers were pretty accurate to the final product. Now, I don't really think it's that bad. It's far from a horrible movie, especially compared to other films released at the time. Gosh, will they ever end? But it is a very messy movie. From the poor pacing, laughably undeveloped characters, and creepy CGI, it all made for an underwhelming film. Just with the property of Minecraft attached to it. This wasn't a surprise though. The whole internet was clowning on this movie since the first teaser trailer came out. The isekai premise alone threw people off, and I've seen plenty more in the previous story concepts revolving around the in-world Minecraft characters. Yet, I think it could have worked. Hell, I think it was nearly there. This movie is brimming with missed potential, and I am here to explain just what diamonds are hiding in this rough film. Plus how they could have been used better. Before we get into the wasted potential, I think it's best to set up what the movie does and doesn't do well, because it has some pretty good qualities. One of the highlights are the fight scenes. They were probably my favorite parts of the movie, having very high energy, catchy songs that worked well with the fast-paced, zany action. The characters also utilized the setting and tools of the world well here, with dynamic movements and enjoyable slip-ups here and there. I do think the final one was a lot weaker though, being more awkward and not holding the amount of momentum you'd expect for the climax. Kinda killing the hype over Henry's stealing of the Tesseract and Garrett's return. Way to go out on a whimper, guys. Luckily, most of the movie had me chuckling instead. Yeah, the comedy is pretty good here too. I wouldn't say it's astounding or anything, but most of the jokes had me at least smiling, and some even audibly laughing. Namely any scene involving Steve and Garrett, because the sexual tension is hilarious, but also amazing. This marks 3 video game movie adaptations with weird sexual relations between 2 of the main male characters. They are the best dynamic in the film, and it really feels like the actors were having fun working together. The other characters were also fairly fun with some good quips, but Natalie was kinda grating. Her straight man act in this wacky world did not work for me, coming off as overly cynical just for the sake of it, trying to emulate the Marvel movie awareness standard cause it's the cool thing to do I guess, screw your fun and whimsy. But an actually funny character was the principal. She's there for like 5 minutes, but her bit with the villager was at least engaging, even if I wish the scenes were better spaced out. The end one with the reveal of the art teacher being the ex was also pretty funny. Good job. Another thing I'll give the movie props for is the environments. Say what you will about the mobs, which, trust me, I will, but the terrains do indeed feel like Minecraft transformed into real life. Or like a really pretty mod. Sure, the green screen can be rather poor at times, a weird trend with modern movies. But you can still have fun imagining walking in this world. However, the most surprisingly good elements were the songs. Not talking about the ones that play during the action sequences, even if they are pretty good, no. Talking about the random-ass Jack Black mini musical numbers. The only reason I had any idea about these was because on the way to the theater, I looked at Minecraft songs to play and saw one of them in the search. But I didn't realize there were 4, and that they're actually catchy and honestly fairly charming and comedic. The only one I'd cut is the dog one, but that's mainly because Steve immediately goes back to Earth, so it was useless. But despite all these goods, there are a whole lot more duds. Okay, so somehow I thought Dawn's name was Nora. I don't know how, don't ask me. So we're just gonna pretend that for this video I actually got it right the whole time. Okay. Let's get this out of the way. The mobs are hideous. You know it, I know it, the whole internet clowned on the sheep for a reason. I wish the actors would just green screen into a normal Minecraft world rather than this ultra-realistic abomination. It would have been way funnier, plus less torturous to my eyeballs. In all honesty, not the worst CGI adaptations I've ever seen, but these graphics are no Detective Pikachu. And besides the mobs, this goes for other modern mainstream films too, the green screen kinda sucks ass. I don't know what is up with current movies, but the characters always look like they were just copy and pasted into the backgrounds, like, bro, why does it look like that? Another big detractor in this film is the pacing. The pacing in this movie is way too quick to balance out the different arcs of the film, but also slugs in some places that detracts from the entire story. Namely, it's the emotional scenes that suffer. Each lasts a microsecond before being cut off. Like, I'm glad the movie acknowledges we don't care about these characters, but you could try a little more. I also think there could have been a lot more world building. Like, I get that technically we already know this world, but I just wish they showed off more of it. It feels like we don't get any time to enjoy the various elements they show off, like the Endermen or Pillagers. They barely did anything. Also wish crafting got used more, and I don't just mean basic Minecraft tools, but Earth items as well. I really enjoyed the fusion of real-life objects with Minecraft ones to craft new tools. It feels like a good justification for this being an isekai, and allows for a lot of creativity to unique solutions or attacks during fights. Like the Hermes Golem. That was cool. Why not use it more? Seriously, how was this film an hour and 40 minutes? It felt like nothing happened. But the biggest weakness in this film are the characters, and their lack of any depth or arcs. Sure, you can argue technically they have arcs, but really, they have less substance than Namari. Nora barely has any relevance, only to act as a companion to Natalie to vent her problems to, and be an animal lover cause none of the other characters could have done that, I guess. She has so little to do in this film, why is she here? Natalie too has very little, being resigned to the B-plot after one contrived mid-act breakup between the cast that came out of nowhere. But at least she has somewhat of an arc. A very rushed one, mind you, but it's still something. She learns to be less strict and allow her brother and herself to explore their passions, even if it's not the most practical. So basically she gets a hobby. But for real, it was kinda sad how much the female characters got sidelines. Poor rep for the female gamers. Though the male ones aren't that much better. Henry is our supposed protagonist, but he's third place in screen time compared to Steven Garbage Man. I barely know anything about this guy. Besides, he's a shy, nerdy kid. He has very little development, ending in the same spot he started. His insecurity after the incident was hardly touched on, and even then, it didn't feel like it hindered him at all. He seemed relatively fine, and yeah, it hasn't even been a day. Steve is overall fine. He's fun enough as a character, and doesn't exactly have an arc besides at the end. Wish it was built up, but we'll get to that. Jack Black brings a lot of charm to the character, and whatever contrived betrayal plot they were going to do gets dropped instantly. Would have been better without it because it was pointless, but whatever. Garrett is the second strongest, having the most depth to him. He's given the biggest and most complete arc, actually learning to put others above himself. He starts off as an ego-driven man who can't get over the past, so he has to learn to look beyond his grade and accept the new friends he has in the present. Granted, he was literally going to be evicted and out of a job, which the movie kind of skims over, but he still left the girls to die in this alien world, so not great. Even the villain is pretty boring. She's got a few good lines, namely at the end with the double fake out, that go-get chuckle, but still a fairly generic bad guy. And I don't need a super complex villain, it's a Minecraft movie. Which arguably didn't even need a main big bad. But even so, I wish she was more entertaining, like a Mr. Business villain. Had some qualities to make her stand out. Yet all these characters, for how much they failed to get me invested, could have been salvaged. Each of them holds something that ties into the main theme of the film, that being creativity. And it is here that the missed potential shines through. Creativity is at the core of this movie, which makes sense. Minecraft is a game people use to create things. It's literally in the name. You craft. Craft tools, craft builds, craft characters, craft stories. The variety of ways this game has been used is kind of insane. But it stands to hold true that the game cultivates innovative minds to make unique projects. And the film knows this, centering on an artistic kid who ends up thriving in this new world. Yet, this message falls flat when it's pushed aside for a fairly lackluster plot and lost from breakneck pacing. It only comes back at the end, feeling more tacked on than anything. But it is this message that could have taken these elements and made a fantastic movie, by exploring the relationship between passion versus practicality. Each character represents a different part of this spectrum. Natalie is the one who is focused purely on practicality. She is now the sole guardian of her younger brother, forced to grow up quicker than most her age, so she doesn't have the luxury of seeking out a job she's more passionate about. She just needs something to pay the bills and keep a roof over her and her brother's heads. So she worries that Henry puts too much focus on his dreams, rather than trying to fit in and get through school with good grades to later get a good job. Henry is the complete opposite, being a creative thinker who is interested in science and engineering new, unique machines. This causes him to stand out, and get a bit overly ambitious. Thanks to others, he begins to doubt his art, but finds his passion reinvigorated by the strange realm he finds himself in, a place where you survive through your creativity, rather than it pushing you down. Nora is a bit of a stretch since she doesn't have much to work with, but she acts as a good middle ground for the group. Someone who understands the need for practicality to get by, what with her 5 jobs, but she still does incorporate a passion into it, no matter how unethical. And by the end of the movie, she has developed that into her full-time career. I'd say she has the best mindset of the group, so it's a shame she's barely in the film. Garrett is kind of a mix of both, but not in a healthy way like Nora. This guy used to be a pro gamer who gained some fame for his skills. But now it's decades later and he's found that the hype wears down, causing him to struggle making a living off his passion. He's an adult with bills to pay, but he's too lost in his dreams to face the reality of the situation and move on from his title and pride. So he does everything he can to get rich quick, even if it means leaving 2 of his teammates to fend for themselves in a dangerous world they know nothing about. Steve, meanwhile, is the ultra-creative, someone totally consumed by their fantasy, refusing to live in the real world due to its constraints on aspirations. As a result, dude is kinda lonely besides having his dog, but even then, he loses him after being captured. Sure, he's living his dream, but he's also isolated, disengaged from reality. I hope I've made it clear how well each of these characters ties into the theme of creativity, and how big of a waste it was that they weren't utilized correctly. To present a good message on the balance between trying to pursue one's passion while also keeping yourself afloat as well as a social life. Many creatives find it hard to maintain one due to having to constantly work on projects to keep up with pay. Or many people have to settle for a basic office type job for a better wage, or simply to handle other responsibilities in life. But in the Minecraft community itself, some of the biggest projects are by a group of friends. It has a multiplayer mode for a reason. Striking a balance between your own interests and responsibilities by relying on others for help allows you to get to live a far better, more fulfilling life. And I think this is what the movie could have expressed, or even tries to. The fucking villain is literally a perfect metaphor for how greedy businesses tear down imaginative types. She rejects all forms of art and Goodbye, Siri! No! She rejects all forms of art and originality to simply pursue gold. Like, it's right there! And you even have a backstory on her own goals being squashed by the same system. Sure, a nonsensical, kinda dumb story, but still, it could have worked. All of this could have. Natalie could have learned that maybe there are passions she can find in life and make a career from. Henry learns that his creativity is something he should embrace and not hide in fear of embarrassment. Nora could get the opportunity to live out her dream job. Garrett could find a revived sense of passion with friends who can relate to and help support his business. And Steve learns to not hide away from reality because his world of fantasy is easier. But sadly, what we got instead was a mediocre movie with rushed pacing, horror CGI, barely there arcs, and the tiniest sprinkle of a relatable message. Honestly, the best part of watching the movie was probably the audience that was with me. I don't know from your guys' experience, but every theater I've gone to in the past few years has been fairly empty thanks to COVID. Yet, this time around, the whole theater was packed. I worried it would be annoying because I don't trust people to have theater etiquette, but to my surprise, the audience was great. They cheered and laughed alongside me at the funny jokes and fun references. Sure, sometimes it could be a bit much, lots of kids in there, but overall, I just really liked having so many people enjoying the same product. The movie wasn't the best, but it still captured at least even a smidgen of the heart that has united so many people for this little crafting game. So, if anything, I can give the movie props for getting the ending right, showcasing various ages and types of people who share a passion for a game all about creativity, starting from even just one singular block. Or maybe we were all there to hear Jack Black say, who knows? Hope you guys enjoyed. No matter how late this video comes out post-movie, watch a better video game film, Sonic, and I'll see you guys next time.